what has killed the wisest people in this continent is the doubt, the self-doubt of whether you can make it or not. Most of our young people don't have the confidence in themselves. They don't believe that they can be somebody. They don't believe they can make it. They don't believe in themselves. They look at their upbringing and background, and that upbringing and background enters their head and cripples their ambitions, ability to make it in life. So what I want to tell our young people right now, if you're watching and listening to this, that you can do it, you can make it. You just need to have the courage.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to YASP, your African Supply Chain Podcast. I'm your host, Stella Jaqueta. In this podcast, we discuss various episodes that affect my beautiful, your beautiful, uncomplicated African supply chains. Have you subscribed to the podcast? I mean, you've been listening to this episode all this time and you haven't subscribed? Come on. Take this time right now. Subscribe to whichever streaming platform you're listening from right now. Thumbs up on our YouTube channel. Come on. Do yourself this favor. Subscribe to the channel. And this helps to elevate and spread the gospel of supply chain around the world. And as of custom, we always start our episode with a quote. And the quote today goes like this. The future belongs to those who dare to dream beyond boundaries. Imagine. And it goes really, really well to today's episode, which is empowering the Africa of today. Empowering the Africa of today. And in this episode, I have an honorable guest, who is very passionate about youth empowerment in Africa, and allowed me to introduce you to Emolot David, the chairperson for the African Continental Free Trade Area Youth Advisory Council. I told you, he's honorable. Okay. So, hi, caliber, and welcome, Emolot, to YAS. How are you doing?
No, I'm amazing. It's always a pleasure joining in and getting time to discuss issues that, affect our young people in the continent. Always a pleasure.
Amazing. Thank you, Emolot, for taking time out of your busy schedule to really come and talk with us and have a conversation. Feel free, feel at home, this is our tribe. And Emolot, just to get started, before we go down to your story, to the amazing things you're doing, Emolot, if you had a superpower, what would it be and why? So that we can relate with you and be like, oh, Emolot is not some alien that came from heaven. He's just like us. He would like to be. We had same feeling, just like us, normal human being. But okay, if you had a superpower, what would it be and why?
I think if I had a superpower, it's one that is to make things happen. If I had that power of making things happen, I think that would be the power I want. I'm not equating myself to God, but the power of let there be light, and there was light.
Yeah.
That power, I think, that's what really our continent needs right now. If it's sanity, let there be sanity, and there is sanity. If it's corruption, let there be no corruption. There is no corruption. I think that would be really the power that I would want, and it would be a power that causes instant impact, not a gradual impact, but really, instant impact. That would be the power that I want.
When you slept like this, I remember if you guys watched Avengers, Thanos, when he wanted to do something, it's like it snap and it would just disappear. So I was like, I think Emma like to be Thanos, but on the good side, okay, not like destroying things, but like restoring things. And
True.
can you tell us a little bit about your life trajectory and your career journey?
Yeah, I thank you. I think for me, my life has really been in the leadership space. And this leadership space, I started when I was way younger. I think about, if I could remember, I began my leadership journey from way younger when I was, I think, in primary one, being the class representative at a very young age in primary one, leading our students, our pupils. Then, of course, through that, it's a combination of co-curricular activities into sport, into athletics, and all of that. And, and that went through my, my journey. It went through my primary school journey into my secondary or high school, where still leadership was at the core of my high school journey. So it was a blend of academic co-curricular activities, but with a focus on sport and leadership. So I was playing soccer, I was doing athletics on the side, but also on the academic side and also the leadership side. So I was more or less what you would want to call an all-around student who had everything. I was present in more or less everything. And that same thing happened until the university. So while I was at university still, I was, heading quite a number of associations. I was eventually also represented my course in the student guild government until when, I was serving as the student guild vice president at university, which of course ushered me into work, the workspace after university, where I was more or less dealing with civil political rights kind of research and engagement, which more or less exposed me to what our young people are dealing with in terms of human rights. Then eventually I went into the African Union space. And the African Union space is a space I've been in for quite a bit since 2021 up to date.
Mm.
Yeah. Yes.
Wow. Wow. And
But
it's amazing to hear your journey up until now. And one thing I
yeah.
can see, and I think it's a common thread in your journey, is that you were very intentional about it. I remember you telling me last time we had a conversation is that you've always wanted to make a difference from a young age.
Yeah.
You've always wanted you were very resolute on that. So even the
Yes.
career path that you took, it was very intentional on how you were going
Yes.
to bring transformation. It wasn't just like, I don't feel like today I'm not gonna do it, but you were very intentional about it. That's quite
Very true. Very
that
true.
is
Yeah,
that's quite
I think yes. I think by standard, when I was in, I think, primary 3, yeah, I had already told myself that I would love to lead my people. I would love to provide guidance. I would love to lead my people to development, because it's also, of course, mainly informed by where I grew up from. I grew up from the border town of Malaba in eastern Uganda, Tororo district. And that's where really the journey, and it's a cosmopolitan district. There's a lot that happened. So, growing up from that setting, you kind of want to really cause an impact. You kind of really
yeah.
want to see things that really more or less informed my aspirations in life, which is mainly to ensure that there is more of inclusive development in my society. And not only my society, I took that to the national level and eventually now to the regional level, where we are fostering inclusive youth development or youth participation in the AFCFTA.
Oh, wonderful. And going into the AFCTA, can you provide us an overview of the objectives and the missions of the Youth Advisory Council within the African Continental Free Trade Area, and how it aims to empower really the youth across the continent? Perhaps you can, just for someone who has never heard about AFCTA, could you give us like a little crash course of what it is and then how the Youth Advisory aims to support that mission?
Thank you. The African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, mainly known as the AFCFTA, is an African Union treaty, one that has currently been signed by 54 member states out of 55, and about ratified by about 48 member states. And what does it aim to do? It aims to open the borders of our African continent to young people to trade. I always love saying that the African Continental Free Trade Area is for the young people. And I want to always say that it's the first time the African Union thought about the young people by creating a policy or instrument that is going to enable them have money directly in their pockets, not by doing anything, but by trading on the goods and services they are producing. And how does the AFCFTA enable that to happen? The AFCFTA allows our young people to move freely with their goods and services for as long as they meet the requirements of the market they are going into, with less barrier, non-tariff barriers and tariff barriers, to then be able to sell their product, regardless of what they are working on, regardless of what they are being able to manufacture, for as long as they have a demand in another country. Or even if there is no demand, they are open through the AFCFTA to explore those markets. So that's what the AFCFTA is doing. It's mainly an agreement that is opening up the African borders to be able to trade freely from coast to coast. And I always love saying from Cape Town to Cairo, from the Gambia to Addis Ababa. That's what the AFCFTA is doing. And of course, as we speak right now, we already in the move. Trading began already under the AFCFTA. Right now, we have a pilot initiative called the Guided Trade Initiative that is opening up the doors for a sample of countries that have already harmonized their tariff and have already submitted to the Secretariat. And those are the ones that are currently piloting what we call the AFCFTA. And trading has already happened between Rwanda and Ghana. Kenya is also being able to trade Cameroon, Tunisia. We are seeing these countries already piloting, already doing things, and this is already happening. Our young people already applying for the certificate of origin and they are trading. And that's the beauty of the AFCFTA. So what we are currently on right now, and the good news is for our young people, is the African Union as of February, 17th of February this year, adopted the Protocol of Women and Youth in Trade. Protocol that speaks for our young people, a protocol that we, the young people in trade, are going to be able to use to advocate for inclusive policies at our country level, to ensure that we are going to be included in the national AFCFTA implementation committees to implement the national AFCFTA implementation strategies. Strategies that are going to ensure that each member state of the African Union fully benefits from the opportunities that the AFCFTA offers at the regional level. So that's the beauty about the AFCFTA. So back to the question. So what is the role of the council? But before I even go there, the council is mainly a youth-led body that was started by our young people from the African continent. About 35, 40 of them were convened together in Arusha, Tanzania, by our mother entity, YOLED Africa, of course, with the support of different other partners, including the AFCFTA Secretariat and GIZ, who supported financially the project to bring our young people to discuss. So through that discussion, that bootcamp, where we're exploring opportunities of the youth in the AFCFTA, that the young people saw a gap on meaningful youth inclusion in the AFCFTA. And we decided, myself inclusive, to create what we call the AFCFTA Youth Advisory Council. It was officially launched in November, 9th November 2021 by His Excellency Jakaya Mrisho Kikwete, the former president of Tanzania, and officially unveiled by His Excellency Wamkele Mene that following year in about April of 2022. That's when the council was officially unveiled to begin doing very key important objectives. And number one is to mobilize our young people from the African continent. Bottom-up mobilization of our young people, regardless whether you are in trade or not in trade. So ideally, the council has an holistic demographic whereby all the young people come into the umbrella body called the AFCFTA Youth Advisory Council to, number one, understand what the AFCFTA is. Number two, interest themselves to check on the opportunities they can harness from the AFCFTA, including trading in goods and trading in services. And of course, number three, just also support the implementation process of the young at the country level by enacting policy. So the the council, what ICOYACA does, in short, is to ensure that we do more bottom-up mobilization of our young people from the continent. We do research on on trade, regional trade, with a specific focus on the AFCFTA to identify gaps. You very well know implementation is only effective when we can be able to identify, but also be able to do research to inform better strategies on implementing the AFCFTA. So we also do research. We also do partnership leveraging with different other youth organizations and different other entities. Right? And we also harmonize programs so that we don't duplicate the issue we have in the African continent. We have very many people establishing entities to tackle a specific thing, but there is power in working as a collective. So the Youth Advisory Council mainly ensures that all these youth umbrella bodies come together so that we could be able to run the continental agenda together. And that's what the AFCFTA offers. The Youth Advisory Council, offers. And of course, the other thing that we do, we also do partnership leveraging. And this, we are working closely with our development partners, quite a number of them. We've worked with quite a number of them thus far, and there has been a lot of impact. The International Trade Center, the UNDP, the GIZ, MasterCard Foundation, the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung, and so many of them. We can't mention all of them. Then, of course, with our consortium youth organizations. And of course, I'm not forgetting our entities, the main entities, the AFCFTA Secretariat, the African Union Youth Envoy Office, the African Union Youth Commission, all these entities working together. The Pan-African Youth Union is also there. And we all work as a collective to ensure that no young person is left behind. And lastly, our member states. Our member states are the key implementers of this agreement because they are the signatory. So we work closely with also our member states at each country level to ensure that the national youth councils, which are our youth, the government structures of engaging youth, we work closely with those structures. And of course, we also work with the line ministry, the Ministry of Trade, the chief negotiators, and different other committees established at national level to ensure that the AFCFTA achieves its intended objectives to open up the borders to empower our young people. I'm saying our young people because we are the majority traders and we are the biggest demographic going to benefit, or already the earmark to benefit more strongly, over 30 million jobs being created through holding of the AFCFTA. So we are the biggest demographic going to benefit, and that's why the council's focus is the young people, and we will surely ensure that everyone, bottom up, everyone, regardless whether you have a degree or not, you should be able to benefit for as long as you have a good or you're offering a service. That service is a service that can be able to benefit a lot from the agreement.
Wow. That's wonderful. And Emolot, as you're saying, you're partnering with so many organizations in order to make this happen. It's not, and I believe it's not easy. And, but there is a need for that. I was speaking once in a conference recently that African continent, it's more than half of the continent is young people, people below the age of 35. And I think by 2030, 60%, 40% of the world's population will be for Africa. And the youth, actually 40% of the youth in the world will be from Africa. So it means that we have a lot of power. We're the majority actually in the continent, and we should have a seat at the table. But I would like to ask you, Emolot, personally, have you had experiences where that was not the case? That, sometimes people can be like, you're too young to say that, or who are you yet? You don't have the credentials yet, the age to be speaking of such sort. Have you experienced that, or have you had the acceptance from the beginning of even creating the Youth Advisory Council? It was just like breathe through. Everybody was like, yay, let's do it. Or did you face some challenges in terms of accepting and especially convincing people who are 10 times older than you?
Yeah. That's a very good question. And it's good because it's one thing that what we have out there, it's one thing to acknowledge that the young people are the majority. It's another thing to actually be intentional at mainstreaming their meaningful participation. And I emphasize meaningful participation in all developmental aspects of the society. What is out there? What we have out there is at times what I tend to call structural exclusion of our young people to meaningfully participate in the development aspect of their country, regardless of even the AFCFTA alone. We see, yes, member state governments, development partners, generally seemingly look like they're inviting young people on the table to discuss. But over time, when you try to assess their meaningful participation, you realize that even their own proposition, when they go to this round table sitting, at times they are overshadowed. At times they are not fully adopted. At times they can be on paper, but not fully considered. So we want to get to a level where the young people propose their proposition need to be implemented. That's the level we want to get to. And we already saw this level with the AFCFTA Secretariat. The AFCFTA Secretariat brought us, the young people, on board to be able to share our thoughts on developing the protocol of women and youth trade. And I will tell you for sure that the progressive entity with the able leadership of His Excellency Wamkela Nanan he presented the draft protocol of the AFCFTA, the protocol of women and youth in trade, the way we had agreed, the way we had suggested, all the propositions we suggested. That is exactly how they presented it to the Council of Ministers and eventually adopted by the heads of state and governments during this year's African Union General Assembly. That level of proactiveness is what we need at member state level, where youth interests or youth voices or youth propositions, youth concerns, youth challenges are heard, understood, and accepted. Then a framework is put in place to implement clause by clause. If the African Union can be able to do that, why not our member state? So we have had challenge. It's a very big, it's actually, that's what why I said structure is because at times as young people, you cannot see it. You cannot know because they have invited you for these conferences, because they've invited you for to sit on the table. You may have an idea in your mind thinking, oh, we are actually being included. But what is important is the end product. Is the end product representative of your views? Is the end product what you really wanted? Or you have been used to make to make an accountability that, oh, we engage the youth. So that's where we want to get to. And that is something, there is a gradual acceptance. There is a gradual inclusion of our young people. But what we want is rapid inclusion. Already, those challenges have been able to be seen, where the young people are called on table and their views are not heard. Right now, what we see in the African community is the intentionality from our young people to ensure that you forcefully hear our voices. You forcefully hear. That's what now we are seeing. But that can be mitigated if and only if, and this is what, again, the African Union provided leadership. When the intergenerational core leadership is mainstreamed, that's what we're also fostering for. Even in the AFCFTA implementation processes, we are requesting for the intergenerational core leadership, starting with even our chief negotiators. Like our chief negotiators should be accompanied with this negotiation room with our young people. Why shouldn't a young person accompany a chief negotiator who is going to negotiate on issues that are going to impact the young people more? The elderly. Who is going to negotiate on issues that are going to benefit the multilateral company more than the young people? But if they go with a young person as a subordinate, in this case, treated as an equal partner, his views also considered the legal the issues of structured inclusion will be normal. But yes, back to the question, did we feel a challenge? Yes, there was a bit of reluctancy when we were starting the council. But I thank my good friend and brother, Ivan Atuyambi, who was by then the director of UNIDAF, who played a very integral role in ensuring that the structure becomes what it is today. Because it was through his able leadership and standing on his 2 feet to say, no, there is an idea here by these young people, I will support it. It's him that actually made sure that regardless of the defending views on the council's establishment, it was like, I see the vision of these young people, I appreciate the vision, I am going to assist to make this vision a reality. And through UNID Africa, the council became what it is today. And it's through his able leadership. And I thank him. So, and this is what I said, we need leaders, youthful leaders, like my brother Atuyambe, who provided leadership, His Excellency Wamkele Bene, who through, ensure that our young people are meaningfully mainstreamed by ensuring that at every level of the AFC Secretariat participation, our young people are included. our young
Yeah.
people are consulted. Nothing goes beyond the young people at the AFCFTA Secretariat. We need that kind of intentionality at the member state level. If our government ensures that we not only create positions for our young people, for example, the youth member of parliament, but we go beyond creating these structures and also allowing these structures present their proposition, and their propositions are being considered. That these young structures that we have created for youth are capable of presenting alternative budgets, alternative policies, and these policies are adopted by us and implemented. That's where we want to go. And that will eliminate the structural exclusion of our young people in the development process I'm talking about.
Yeah. And I really liked what you said about involving them in the decision-making process. Even if you have the negotiator, they're going, it doesn't make sense if you're not bringing, let's say, the youth involved in that, because at the end of the day, those policies are going to impact their daily lives, are going to impact their future. And if we're not a part of it, what's the point at the end of the day? And it's something that I think even companies need to start to consider that. Because even when I think about supply chains and how we often hear that with African supply chains, there's the whole thing of weak infrastructure. The systems are not yet there, the processes, and also, again, corruption and all of that underlying reasons. But my
Yes.
point is, if the policies are not encouraging for that growth and for that development, it's pointless. I think that the economy itself will not, it can grow up to a certain point. There will always be like a cap into that sense. And it's something that even has leaders, business leaders, private sector needs to really focus on being very involved about these
Yes.
initiatives, that if we don't empower policies that are going to grow our economies, grow our youth, giving them ideas, capacitating them, giving that space for them to hear their ideas. What tomorrow we're still gonna have the same problems that we've had
Yeah.
from our forefathers. So it's important for us to constantly be thinking about this. And with the youth advisory, Emolot, what successful stories can you tell of the projects that you've also implemented? You can speak a little bit about the projects that the youth advisory has implemented so far. What success stories that you've seen that have impacted the youth out of this?
Yeah. I mean, so far, what I can say is that we have been able to really contribute to our mandate of ensuring that our young people get to know the AFCFTA and understand. I think so far our outreach in terms of impact has reached over 100,000 young people who have been able to be directly or indirectly benefit from the various programming that we've been able to have. And we've been able to run for the years we actually began. We began in 2021 November. Now this is 2024 June. Toward the end of June, actually, we've been able to, run targeted programs that are ensuring that we target our young people. We began with the AFCFTA Youth Engage series. We also one of the big successful platforms that development partners and our young people got to be brought together to discuss opportunities that the AFCFTA offers at a very young stage, even before the Protocol of Women and Youth in Trade was up. That's where we began from connecting propositions that which then informed us contributing to the development of the Protocol of Women and Youth in Trade. We began with that. We went to involving our diaspora young people through a targeted program of an exchange program of our youth in trade. It was the Youth in Trade Facilitation Exchange Program, bringing together the likes of the European Union, working with the African Union structures, the diaspora youth structures, and different other youth entities and why we involve the diaspora is because they play a very key role. These remittances they bring contribute to the businesses that most of our young people have been able to establish in the continent. And that's why it's also important to always engage them. It's our sixth region as per the African Union. So we also targetedly engage our young people. We established what we call the inaugural AFCFTA Youth Day. Now we are working on organizing the third edition of the Youth Day, the first and second happening, working closely with the government of Uganda and the government of Egypt last year. The Youth Day is mainly a day where we get to commemorate the efforts that of the AFCFTA implementation, but also acknowledge the efforts our young people have been able to contribute and take stock of what has happened over the year in the AFCFTA implementation that is youth focused. We have also been able to recently launch what we call the AFCFTA Moot Court competition, a competition that is going to grow the future trade negotiator who are going to understand the dispute settlement resolution of the AFCFTA. That is a protocol, dispute settlement protocol of the AFCFTA. We already, you can see the intentionality, already ensuring that we capacitate our young people with this skill to prepare themselves to take over from our negotiators in the future. And or even as they work closely with them, they can be able to advance. So we are also working around different other initiatives, the AFCFTA debates. We've been able to support the Secretariat. We've organized the AFCFTA Youth Symposium, bringing together over 30,000 young people in one room, discuss issues that affect them. We have also been able to, work closely with the governments, establishing structures and contributing to the National AFCFTA Implementation Committee. So the programs are quite many, about 10 of them, about 10 or so, and each of them has had its own impact and own demographic and own number. So as I say, over 100,000+ young people have been able to benefit from all those programming. So it's something that we are proud of as the council, and we have done it. We have been able to do this without any funding, no funding whatsoever. This is our young people volunteering, offering their time, their efforts, their knowledge, expertise into assisting the African Union, include to ensure that youth are included, but also to ensure that we contribute to the success of the AFCFTA agreement.
Yeah.
No funding. No funding. And that level of volunteerism is what we need. If and only if we are to achieve the Africa we want, as put in the Agenda 63. And for me, as their leader, it pleases my heart to know that we are having crop of young leaders, the Gen Zs, who are actually going to be able to influence the development of this continent in the very near future. They're taking over leadership. We are already driving continental agendas. Why not? The day we get to the helm, believe me, it's going to be a youth-led, a youth-focused, and not only youth, but also it's going to be an intergenerational focused leadership that we are going to be able to provide. So that's what we've been able to do with a level of volunteering. No funding whatsoever. We just work closely with the development part, but no direct funding to ensure that these young people are remunerated or are actually getting salaried out of this. Nothing but passion and the love for the continent is what these young people are offering right now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful to hear about these projects that you guys are driving around our beautiful continent. And it's very important for, I think, the youth to feel like they're being considered. You've mentioned like now Gen Z being now at the forefront as well, stirring up this development, involving newer generations, We had millennials, now it's Gen Z, the generations that keep coming. And we need to teach them about the importance of this unity. It doesn't matter if you are from Uganda, it doesn't matter if you are from Nigeria, from Mozambique, from South Africa. We are all one Africa at the end of the day. And we shouldn't look toward trading only with outside and commodities, but we should trade also among ourselves, build industries amongst ourselves, trade amongst ourselves. And this is what we are also aiming at. And I think the youth more and more is becoming more aware of the importance of this. And speaking on this, of the youth, Emolot, what is your personal, looking into the future, what is your personal dream? And it's something because, even when you speak, we can see a fire in you. When you talk about the youth, the involvement, the development, there is a fire in you. So what is your ultimate dream when you think about our African youth?
I think for me is to see that no youth left behind, that whatever benefit the continent has to offer trickles down every young person of this continent. be it natural resources. If that resource is sold, the benefits of that resource should be able to benefit the lowest of the lowest, regardless of their educational background, regardless of their family background, regardless of anything. They should be able to benefit. So what is left behind is the vision of the future of Africa we want, an inclusive development. I'm always for inclusive development because inclusive development gets the best out of our young people. Our young people will be able to work their utmost best if there is inclusive and participatory development. If they're included in the development processes, they will be able to work at their utmost best, hence contribute to the development of this content. One thing is for sure, the numbers are going to increase. By 2063, over 35% of this continent will be the young people. And this alone I will tell you that in the globe, Africa will have the youngest working population. So that for me is a demographic dividend that needs to be harnessed. And to harness that's now when we, the young people, begin informing how best we should be able to be included. We need to be able to begin telling our government, this is what we want. This is how best you can assist us. And this is how best you can work with us. Let's work together. And we need to begin fostering intergenerational coordination. When we do that, no one, the poverty that our young people are facing right now will be no more because it will be of a born to approach to development where we will be our brothers and sisters keepers because we know that we have a shared mission and a shared vision, not an individualistic vision. And that's what I see. That's where I want us to go. We will need to begin speaking the same language, regardless of tribe, regardless of ethnicity, regardless of the geographical location. Our agenda as the young people of the continent needs to be one. And for me, I'm focused to see that we are united as a continent. We, as the young people of this continent, we are united as one because I already see the power. And as I conclude on this point, the 21st century is the highly connected century ever in the history of the world. And that means whatever you do in Mozambique, right now I'm in Uganda, you are in Mozambique, but we are talking real time.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of synergy building that we can do. And there is a lot of knowledge sharing that we can do. We are capable of sharing best practices. What Mozambique is doing right for their young people, how can we be able to borrow that and implement in Uganda? What are the youth in Chad doing? How can the youth in Botswana do the same? What that level of camaraderie is where we need to get our as the young people so that no country is left behind. And that's what the African Union is looking forward to. And what I am doing right now with the team of the people we are working with is to ensure we make the African Union a dream reality. That Africa we want, a peaceful and prosperous Africa, is what we are already trying to do with the AFCFTA purpose of youth inclusion that we are doing. So that's where really I want us to go. That's the future I foresee at that level. I'm now talking about the region, but that's the member state level. Our young people in whichever country you're in, we should be first of all united. We should be united. And through that unity at the country level, it can then spread to the regional level and then the continent. That's the power we have as the young people, the connectivity, the positivity, praying, the energy. That's what we have, and that's what will ensure that none of it is left behind. And that is the aspiration we have right now.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you, Emolot. The Africa that we want, and this is the youth being involved. And Emolot, just as a parting words, what is one advice you can give to a young person who is listening to this podcast right now and they want to grow, they want to make an impact, they want to cause a difference? What is one thing that you could tell them that they should focus on?
If you have an idea, and I want to borrow the ones of, I'm borrowing these ones from the president of Namibia, Nangula Bomba, I believe, His Excellency. Angola Mumba. Yes, I hope I've gotten the name right. The Namibians don't kill me. Don't if I butcher the name.
Please
But
don't kill.
yes. But His Excellency, the President of Namibia, says that if you have an idea, don't sit on it. Start moving with it. You will always get the people to support you. What has killed the wisest people in this continent is the doubt, the self-doubt of whether you can make it or not. Most of our young people don't have the confidence in themselves. They don't believe that they can be somebody. They don't
Yeah.
believe they can make it. They don't believe in themselves. They look at their upbringing and background, and that upbringing and background enters their head and cripples their ambitions, ability to make it in life. So what I want to tell our young people right now, if you're watching and listening to this, that you can do it, you can make it. You just need to have the courage. You need to be bold enough to face your fear. If you have an idea, stand up, start implementing it, then people will join you. The people will join you. Just like right now, I have decided that I'm going to contest for the member of parliament of Sororo municipality, my district, my municipality. And, it's an idea that many people will be like, oh, do you have the money? Do you have the power? But it's an idea that I believe when we, the young people, begin moving, accept and embrace it, we can make it. We can rally behind and make sure that no amount of money, no amount of intimidation, no amount of either maybe you could call it maybe cowardness can allow us to kill this thing. All we need was that we stand by our conviction, we strategize as the young people, we support each other, we make it happen. You have an idea, don't sit on it, begin making a few steps, baby steps, people will join you. God will bring the right people, push your agenda forward. Believe me, just do it. Yeah.
Wow, that's wonderful. If you have an idea, start. Don't sit on it. Don't wait for the perfect timing. Don't wait for the perfect weather. Don't wait even for the right people to come and no, just start where you are. The resources will come. When you take the first step, the next step will follow. The light will come as you take the steps. Don't expect to see the path already laid down for you and you're like, oh, I see the big picture now.
Yes.
You know what? One step at a time. As you take a step, the light will show. Take another step, the light will show. And
Yes.
and I think with our young people, this is more like we are growing up listening to this. And I'm so super happy and about our African future that is looking very bright. And unfortunately, we have come to the end of this episode ourselves. Then we couldn't start for Emolot, but our time. But Emolot, if someone would like to reach out to you, if they would like to talk further, how can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, I mean, my LinkedIn, Emolot David, always leave me a message. I know that I know, I tend to take time, but LinkedIn, you can reach out to me on Twitter still at Emolot _AD. Instagram, Emolot David. Yeah, you could always reach me on those. My email is chairperson at ikoyataafrica.org. Leave me an email. We could always organize a meeting such as this. Yeah, share our thoughts together. And yeah, and also you get time to join the AFCFTA Advisory Council Network. We have a large community and a channel, a WhatsApp channel. You could always join in and get updates from our end, what we are doing, what we are planning. And yeah, and I believe, we will always be able to impact each other through that. So this is what I'm always there for us. I'm always ready to share my, the thoughts, these thoughts God has given us. I'm always ready to share them with you and support wherever I can with these ideas to see how best we could support each other. Yeah. So thank you so much.
Amen. Oh, guys, please reach out to Emolot. He's always open to have a chat and to talk about like the same fire that you see here is the same fire that he will transmit to you. He is passionate about youth empowerment. This is one guy that is not just doing for the show of it, because sometimes people can take those positions and they're not doing really nothing. They just want the title. But Emolot is doing, he talks the talk and is walking the walk. He said that he
Yes.
wants to bring change. He's now running for the municipality parliament, so of his current municipality. So I'm like, he's doing what he says he talks about. So it's very,
Yeah.
and I'm very proud of you, Emma, and I wish you all the best. And I think that you're a wonderful, wonderful candidate. So great things we will see ahead of this. And guys, we've come to the end of our episode. Make sure that you subscribe to our channel, subscribe to our social media. We are on LinkedIn, we are on Instagram. Reach out to Your Africa Supply Chain Podcast. We're also on all the streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, you name it. Also, we are on YouTube. This video is available fully on YouTube. You can watch it. And also, I want to make a shout out to a special person here because he is a constant listener to the podcast. Let me just check here, so because I don't want to get his name wrong. Okay, Cameron Niker. Cameron Niker. Let me shout out to Cameron to be such a vivid and active listener to Your Africa Supply Chain podcast. Shout out to you, and I hope wish you all the best on your journey and your career. So, guys, thank you for tuning in. Stay tuned for the next episode.